Today I'm joined by Aidan Syer. He's a Great Britain sprinter, a sports scientist and a sports performance coach. It's good to see you.
And you big man?
Yeah. Good. I'm good, man, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, no problem. The first question I wanted to ask you is how did you get into sports science and sports performance coaching?
Interesting question. So, sports science, I was running for Great Britain at the time. I got a bad injury, so I was thinking to myself, what do I do? So from there, I just decided I'm going to go to university and do a degree. Didn't know which degree, I just know I wanted to do something with sports. So yeah, got onto the sports science course at Loughborough University, went up there on a scholarship and started on sports science degree. So that's how that journey started.
Yeah, you began.
Yeah.
Okay. And what motivated you to really do it other than the injury?
I needed something to do.
Yeah.
All I ever wanted to do was be an athlete. I hadn't aspired to do anything else. Apart from maybe be a pop star or something. I can't sing, so. From there, I was just like, I just need something to do. It wasn't an ambition or an aspiration for me. I just needed something to do. And I knew that if I did want to go to university, it had to be nothing.
Okay.
Because it's the best for sport. And I thought, I'm not going to go anywhere else. So, so I was lucky.
And in terms of you training so many young footballers, rugby players, how did that all come about for you? Is it just like an easy thing that fell into your hands, or you just dropped it and looking after certain?
You know what? It's funny. So this was, I'd only been coaching maybe a couple of years into it. And a friend of mine who was a football agent, he had these two young players who wanted to do some stuff in the season. This is coming back 12 years ago now, something like that. And he said, Aidan, can you do some sprint work? I said, yeah, no problem. And they came down, they met me, we did a few sessions, and they went back to pre-season. Flying. One of them signed his first pro, literally a few months after that, and the other one got selected for England schoolboys. He was at West Ham at the time, the other one was at Charlton. And just my friend was like, what did you do with these ads? I said, well, I just applied what I know to football. And he's like, okay. And then next thing I know, just sending me players, and we would do pre-season camps. We'd have 50, 60 professional and semi-professional footballers coming to do our sessions. And it was busy. It was good. It was great. But we'd have them all there at once. We'd spend 4 or 5 hours. So they do a warm-up and fitness session with me. And they go and do sort of football sessions and they do some drills and games, full-side games. It was, interesting time. And this, before the days of social media was big how it is now, we were doing that.
So you do lots of camps now still, or is it just that period?
I probably don't do any camps. Actually, no. Tell her I did a camp last year for some pros, but I don't do it that often nowadays. It's more kind of like one-to-one.
So when you're looking at athletes, sprinter, athlete boxer, athlete rugby player, what do you look for in a sprinter?
How well they move.
That's what you look for.
First thing, how well they move. And then they focus, they're powerful. Because from my point of view, that's what we're trying to do. I want to move faster, efficient with their movement, healthier, more resilient. So every time I see him, even if I'm watching the TV and I'm watching a football match, I'm like, I don't like his mechanics, he needs to work on this. And it can become a bit of an obsession. I've had to relax a little bit because there was a period where I didn't enjoy watching the same football. And I'm a mad football. Just not because of that, just overly obsessed with how people are moving rather than just watching and enjoying the game. I'm like, I don't like that. Why is he putting his foot there before he does that? It got too much, so I had to just relax, and now I just sit down and watch a game and cuss like every other fan.
So if he was to choose a footballer or an athlete out there now that you would really like to work on their technique, not abusing their coach, what would you do? And what is the problem with that person?
I'll tell you what. Someone I rate as a player is Jack Wilshere, former Arsenal player. West Ham. I'd love to work with him because he's had so many injuries and he's an immense talent. And I've always looked at him and thought, I can help him. Just in terms, it's all mechanical for him. He's very explosive, and I think when he does his extras, he does a lot of explosive work, a lot of agility work. He doesn't really need it. He just needs mechanical work and conditioning work. Fantastic talent. Very explosive. The way he can glide past players, he's special. There's not many that can do it. I think Grealish does it a lot. The way he plays, he just commits and he's gone. Fantastic. And Madison can do a bit of that as well. James Madison, Leicester. I'd love to work with Jack Wilshere.
He's number one.
Because I just think maybe, I don't know where he's at now in terms of what's for his career, but if you'd have given me him 6 years ago.
What about sprinting then?
Would I like to coach?
Not offending any coach.
I'm not going to coach any athlete.
No, not coaching, not offending any coach.
Would I like to work? I'll tell you what.
If you have to do overseas, then that's fine.
You know, I'd coach that young Joseph Duval. I think he's a special talent. He's always injured. He's always injured. And I'd love to, maybe not coach him, but at least guide him and give him some guidance as to what type of training he could potentially be doing. And just to keep him healthy, keep him on the track.
So what motivates you and keeps you going to train yourself?
I want to run fast. I think, without that goal, I struggle. I really do. Because I'm not a massive, I don't love training. I love what it gives me. So I know if I don't put that work in, I'm not going to get it. So on personal best, I think, I'd love to run a PB. I'd love to get back to my absolute top level, perhaps better. I think maybe running a championship may be a bit past where I'm at right now. Definitely on times, but I definitely think I'm in the group. So roll the dice.
Why not? And who was your role model?
As an athlete? When I was young, Carl Lewis, I loved his technique. Just that in-flight mechanics was...
So you've always had it then? That's always been in your arsenal that you're going to work on and watch technique before speed? So technique is always your thing?
I like to see nice movement, whether it's dancing, with a boxer, whether it's a rugby player. I always like the sports people who move well. I think, I used to watch a lot of rugby, Jerry Duscott, that's how he'd step and go. He was my guy. Someone like Ian Wright, just off both feet, off his right side, his left side, he can do it all. And I just like people who move really, really well. Michael Jackson, look how he danced. I'm looking for that excellence. That's what I'm always searching for.
So if you was to get a raw sprinter, rugged, you would try and change that into a smoother transition of sprinting?
People move how they move. I think you can refine it. I think once you start trying to make wholesale changes, you actually turn the athletes into robots. It shouldn't be. Everyone's got their own slight unique movements, slightly different movement patterns. But some of the fundamentals remain the same. So if you're looking at sprints, for example, you want to have your hips on, you've got to get your knees up. Those little things. You must dorsiflex, but everyone's going to look slightly different within that kind of frame. So it's just about tightening it up, making it more efficient, making the quality of movement a bit better, and hopefully faster.
So what advice would you give to an up-and-coming sprinter now, or up-and-coming sportsman or woman?
That's a good one. Find out what's required. If you have goals to be maybe an Olympian, or you have goals to play in the Premier League, what are those guys doing? And I don't mean people who are just there, the absolute best. Who are the athletes who are at the Olympics and in the final year after year after year? What are they doing? What are the guys who are playing, 500 Premier League games, 100 England caps, World Player of the Year, European Player of the Year? What are they doing? Because a lot of people can do it, but there's doing it and there's doing it. And if you aim at You might not catch that level, but you'll be there and thereabouts. You've got to aspire to be the best and do more. I have to do more than the next person. Yeah. And that doesn't mean overtraining.
Yes, I was going to ask you.
Yeah, it doesn't mean overtraining, but it means doing your stretching in the evening after you finished. It means taking care of your nutrition. It means going to bed early, drinking your water, staying hydrated, making your physiotherapist, getting your muscle, seeing an osteopath, speaking to your coach, breaking it down, setting yourself goals, and learning what it takes to be an elite sports person, because it's not easy. And you'll see a lot of young athletes, sports people, they'll be really young, very early, because they're on that very steep progression curve, and then nothing. Either they get injured, or they just don't progress. It's because their professionalism, attitude, work ethic will keep you there and keep you going. If you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, someone with a fantastic raw talent, but he nurtured it. Look at his profession. He's the most professional football player in the game. It's not an accident why he wins World Player of the Year. He scores all these goals and he wins golden boots here and golden boots there, trophies and medals. He's done it all. He's leading a Portugal side to European Championships. They're not the best team, but he brings it all together.
He knows how to.
Yeah, he knows how to, and he's the guy for me.
So,
I like him.
if I was to give you an option between Messi and Ronaldo, you would choose Ronaldo?
Yes, not because I think he's a better player, but I love his professionalism.
Okay. I
love his approach to what he does. I just think he's a shining example for any young sports person or any sports person or any person. He's just professional, the attention to detail. If half of the professional footballers did half of what he did, their game would just excel.
The whole game would.
The whole game would excel. Without question.
Okay. And your predictions for the Olympic Games next year, 100, 200 meters.
Okay.
Who do you predict for gold? For the men first and the women second.
I think for the guys, it's difficult to look past Christian Coleman in the one. At the moment, he seems a tenth and a bit ahead of everybody. Lyles might decide he fancies the one next year at the Olympics and he'll be a contender. Zarnell Hughes, if we're talking British athletes, will be in the mix. I think he'll improve and learn from the World Championships this year. He's very good. I think if Reece Prescott is fit, he's always in the mix. If he's with you at 40, good luck. Good luck. I think OJ Dobrin will learn a lot from his experience this weekend. If Gatlin decides to roll the dice one more year, then he has to be in it because he's done it from 04 to now. Just exceptional. Other than those guys, I'm not sure. In the two, I think it will be, again, Lyles has to be number one contender. It's a tough one. There's always, Jamili, if he can build on what he's done this year, get another win to behind him, he's definitely going to be for sure. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, but I don't know.
No offense. No offense.
The girls, Shelly Ann fancies it, mate. But Dina's going to be even closer. I think Dina might win the two.
This weekend? Tomorrow?
I think Dina might win that.
I believe so.
She's got it, man. That girl is something else. She's special. Shelly Ann herself. I think it'll be one of them. I don't see anyone else breaking through. If Elaine Thompson gets healthy, she's definitely going to be in the mix. In the two, Dina. For the Olympic gold next year. I think Dina. I should put some money on it. I think she'll come on with a goal of some sort next year. I believe so.
And what's your take on the mixed relay?
It doesn't offend me. I like the concept. I'm not sure it fits at World Championship or Olympic level. Maybe that's me being old school, or maybe a bit traditionalist. I think when you're talking about Worlds or Olympics, you're talking about the very elite. So I want to see an elite competition, and yes, everybody doing the relays are elite athletes in their own right. But if I see a male athlete running past a female athlete with ease, it makes me think it's not elite for a second, and it is. So I'm undecided yet. I'm undecided because they're all fantastic athletes, and it's great that there's new innovation in the sport. It needs it. Track and field is struggling. So to have something new for people to look at, maybe someone who's never seen athletics before, they might look at it and think, wow, that's great. So look, if it gets more people watching, gets more people in the stands, I'm all for it. For me personally, I'm not sure. I'm still on the fence. I'm definitely not against it though.
And what would, if you was to have a team that you would put out, how would you set up? Would you do the 2 men first, 2 women last? Would you break it up? How would you break it up?
I don't know. I kind of like female, male, female, male. I like the idea of that. I think you've got to go with your fastest person on the last. So I think a guy is going to run last. But you could. I think female, male. Female, male. That's how. I think so.
Even though the other teams might set up in a different way, you'll stick with your philosophy and go that way.
I guess it depends who you've got in your team. You've got to play to your strengths. If you've got Alison Felix on your team, you're all right. We might have to roll Christina Hurugu out over time, or someone else needs to come through and step up. So, we need someone in the 4. We need someone that's contending, seriously for medals, because we haven't had that since Chrissy and Nicola Sanders now. We need that.
You said that track and field struggling. Do you think that's the fact of Usain Bolt retiring?
It plays a big role. I think he transcended the sport. Everyone knows who Usain Bolt is.
In all sports.
Now, don't have that superstar or those superstars. So the information of who's good and the knowledge of who's out there isn't really apparent. If any of our guys walk down the street, I was going to know. Usain Bolt walks down, through, any high street, people are going to know. So we need more exposure. It doesn't help that, you stick athletics on the red button, or it's online, or you're not filling out British Championships. It doesn't help. And we need, so again, mixed relay, if it helps people get known and familiar with athletics, then it's great. The more exposure we can get in the sport, the better. Absolutely. Because we've got some great personalities. I like is someone like OJ, and what I've found since he won the British Championships, how he's conducted himself. He's very open and very honest, and it's been a while since we've had an athlete like that. And he shows his vulnerability as well. He says he struggled, from the transition. The sprinters, we're egocentric. It was light work. I just did this and ran here and winged this guy out. It's not always like that. And so I like how he's been there. It's quite fitting with how society is now. And I think more people are going to buy into him. I think, he's onto something.
He's talent as well, anyway.
He's an impressive athlete, and he's an impressive young man to go. For sure.
And I just wanted to ask you about your sports science or your sports performance coaching. You coached other coaches. How was that for you, being probably one of the youngest men in the room, coaching older people? How was that for you? How did they see you?
As long as you're humble, it's not an issue and you know what you're talking about. I think if I went in there and tried to be arrogant and things like that, it wouldn't be a good look. But I think because I'm very humble, I'm open to learning new things, and I feel if I'm in a room with any other coaches, I can learn. So I'm never there thinking, I know everything, do as you're told, this is what you have to do. No, so we have a discussion, and I'll try and guide those discussions a certain way. It's what I feel that they may need as their tutor. And I think it works quite well. I seem to get decent feedback. So I think you never know everything as a coach, and you should never even if you feel like you know everything, you're not working hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I make sure that my mind and I'm open to learning things and take on, because you can learn from everything. I learn things from all people, all coaches. Anytime I go into a gym or I go to a track, I might see a drilling. Yeah, I'm having that. You know? But a lot of the time I'll go up to the coach and I'll ask, well, why are you doing this? You know, what's it for? What are you trying to work on? And I think, well, if it works on this, how could I use it for people I work with? Could I adapt it? Rather than just copy it. I don't know what it's for. I don't know where that fits in their training or in their training cycle. I don't know. So I need to find out. I think what I see a lot of, unfortunately, is coaches just peeling stuff off Instagram. And I'm like, that's not the way to go. Don't get me wrong, I look at stuff on Instagram and I think, oh, yeah, I like that. I think, well, how does it fit? So I think something's a great drill, great exercise. Doesn't mean I have to use it. Just for using its sake, you know, the basics always work well. Make sure your athletes are competent with those first, then progress. But, you know, you take your time and take what information you can when you can.
Right, so who coaches you at the moment?
So I coach myself. I do some technical work with Steve Fudge over at Lee Valley with the Fudge London project where I can. But yeah, predominantly train myself and coach myself,
Has it always been like that?
Not always. I used to be coached by Dave Lease, was my last coach, proper coach, back in, he started coaching me in 2010. And he coached me, wrote my programs, you know, everything for 2 years. And at the end of the 2012 season, I decided I was going to take full ownership of my own training. And I still went and saw him for technical bits for about 3 years after that. Down in Cardiff, where I coached. But I wrote my own training programs, you know, did my own sessions and all of that, trained by myself. Before that, before I was with Dave, I coached myself for a couple of seasons. And then before that, I was with Mike McFarlane for, how long was I with Mac for? 4 years, I think, maybe.
Legend in this sport.
Oh yeah, Mac's certified, he's certified. And then before that, a gentleman called Devon Wright, I worked with, he was my coach at Croydon Harriers, and he was the one who first got me to run for GB. You know, he was my first proper coach. My first club coach was a guy called Paul Weston, who's a legend at Croydon Harriers, a legend. He reels them out, man, every year's conveyor. But yeah, so then Devon Wright, then Mike McFarlane, then myself for a bit, then Dave Lease, and then myself sort of since 2013, well, end of 2012, I've been, you know, taking care of myself really.
So with the GB setup, what is it like being in the GB team, competing around Europe? How do you find that?
Do you know what? It was my dream as a kid to be a Great Britain sprinter. I wanted it to be my full-time job, and I was lucky that after I finished my A-levels, I ran fast enough, and that was it. I got put on funding and I was blessed. To represent Great Britain is magical for me. It's magical. And I loved it. I got to train and work with some of the top athletes in the UK, like Dwayne Chambers, Christian Malcolm, Jason Gardner, you know, all those guys, just because they were the guys, and like, you're like with them, and it's crazy. It was crazy. You know, my junior team, we had like Mark Lewis Francis, I got Mo Farah, so I was in that era. So it was a very talented time. It was a really talented time. We had some amazing sprinters. It was great, and the European thing, I've loved it. This year is the first year that I've competed where I haven't sort of missed a year due to injury, where I haven't run in Europe. So it's going back like 18 years or something.
That you haven't competed in Europe the
first year. I love it. I love the circuit. I like, you know, the random hotels, the random food. I like that side of it because it feels, I like the discomfort. I think when you're at home and it's all relaxed, I don't feel that same energy. And I like that kind of unknown. I remember we went to Belgium, this was donkeys years ago, and it was myself, Mark Findlay, John Barber, I think James Ellett was there as well. There's another spreader called Jason Greenwich. And we'd gone to Belgium, got the Eurostar, got to the accommodation, and it's like bunk beds. We're looking at each other like, what is this? Like, what is this? Like, we must have been about 10 man deep in the room. And there was a little bed in the corner. I'm not even sure it was a full single bed. I was like, yeah, I'll have that one, it's out of the way. So I just tucked up, portable DVD player. You know, it was crazy. Been to some lovely places. Like sometimes you stay in a nice 5-star hotel. Other times you're in like a youth hostel.
Been there.
Other times you're in someone's house. You know, it's it's not all Diamond League glamour. It could be interesting to say the least.
I think I remember the time when I went to English schools, I was in a random person's house.
Seriously?
For 3 days. And they had a dog. The dog was there on my bed. And I was, Mum, what is this?
Yeah, your county must have had a tight budget. Sorry was alright, man. We stayed in student accommodation. It was alright. It was good.
It's the thing that people don't get to see on the outside. They just think you rock up to the track, you're having this luxury life.
Yeah, it's not like that.
It's not.
Well, it can be for some athletes. It is like that, and I think, you know, I've seen kind of two sides of it because I've done the whole funded athlete thing. I'm very fortunate enough to have that. But then I've been on the other side of it where I'm just an athlete trying to make money on the circuit, and that's where most of my career's been. You know, I was funded for a very short period of time. So my whole career is trying to make money on the circuit, and it's not easy because you've got to spend money to make money effectively. And if you're funded, you don't have those same issues. You don't have to race every week because there's no need for you to do so. And it's a different ball game if you're trying to make a champs or be ready for say trials. When you've had to run every week for like 8 weeks leading up to it, by the time you get to trials, it's like you're done. And I think that's the mistake I've made a couple of times in my career where I've been in really good shape, running really well, and I've over-raced going into British Championships thinking I couldn't finish top 4 or 5 and just busting my hamstring because I was just fatigued, just over-raced, not rested enough, but I've got to make the money back.
You got to chase it.
So that was a situation I found myself in, and I think in 2013 I was killing it on the circuit. I was cleaning up in Europe, and I made a mistake. I got over racing, went to trials, tore my hamstring in the semi. I won my heat easy. Tore my hamstring in the semi. Should have made a final.
Was that the year when you were racing against Walter Dix, or was it Walter Dix?
That was the year after. That was the year after. So the year after, 2014, same thing, cleaning up. Went to trials, tore my hamstring again in the semi, took one step. I finished second. I think Kilty beat me in the heat. He ran 10:20 something, I ran 30 something. In the heats, in the semi-final, literally I took one or two steps and I felt my hamstring cut. I was like, nah. And I just tried to force it, and I finished the race. I don't know how.
It's from the first step.
I felt I'd gone. And I went to see physio, a guy called Kevin Nicklow. Just the best. He saved my career on a few occasions. And I was back racing 10 days later.
Wow.
Racing, and I raced with Dix in Copenhagen.
Okay.
In Copenhagen, that was an experience. Walter Dix, man, he's special. Special athlete. Because I was right with him, and then I wasn't. He just gone.
What I saw from the video is that you hung on to it for at least 50, 55 meters.
I can roll, man. When I'm fit and I execute as I should, I can roll. My problem's been staying fit at the right time.
Okay.
I don't think for me, I've never questioned the talent. Just some bad decisions. And I have to take responsibility for that. I'm not going to sit here and blame coaches, because as an athlete you can walk away. And I didn't, and I stayed in a few situations that I probably shouldn't have. Because you have trust and faith and belief in your coach and what the plan is. And sometimes you need someone to say, no, this is not for me.
It's loyalty as well.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you build, the relationship you have with your coach as an athlete is special, and you create such a bond that it's hard to break. Well, it's hard to break. So, you know, I should have left certain situations, and that's why, you know, towards, you know, sort of 2012, 2013, 2014, I decided, you know, enough's enough, and I'm going to take responsibility. Yeah. And lo and behold, I had some of my best seasons. Yeah. But I made bad decisions within that. Yeah. You know, it was great, I ran really well, everything was lovely, but I made some bad decisions, and, you know, it cost me. You know, I think it probably cost me a good chance of maybe sneaking into a team. Yeah, which is a shame. It's a shame, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you've got time to make teams still though.
Maybe. I think right now people are running. If you're not running 9-9, you're not making a team.
I think in the UK though, I think you can make a team running 10.
I think you'd have to, because they're gonna pick the guys who are funded first.
Yeah.
So, you know, the guys that are relay funding, they got almost first dibs. Yeah. So you're really having to finish in the top 2 at trials. 10-2 ain't gonna do that. True. You're gonna need to have a drop to 9-9 or a 10-0 to get to trials, so you might win the trials in 10-10. But if you're not able to and have the capacity to run maybe sub 10, you're probably not gonna do that. Yeah. So unless you just pull one out, and it's very difficult. Not many athletes have done that in the past. It's very rare. You've got to kind of have your level and then maybe give it a 10th under what you deliver at trials. And yeah, you've got to have the reservoir of speed. And yeah, who knows? But I think, look, if you can dip, you might dip a 10th, finish third and get a bronze. You never know, but you've got to be in the mix. You've got to be fit and healthy. Yeah. And I've probably turned up to trials healthy maybe once. In my, like, fully healthy once. You know, and I made the final that year. So, you know,
it's just about consistency, getting 2-3 years under your belt.
Yeah, you need to stack the winters, and you know, I've been unfortunate to not have many full winters under my belt, and so to go as long as I have is a miracle, really, and to run, you know, pretty consistently over that such a long period of time is all right.
That's really impressive. But how do you train on your own when you're getting into speed work, or do you even train on your own when it comes to speed work?
Yeah, I train on my own for everything virtually. As I said, sometimes I'll jump into some practice group and we'll jump into some acceleration stuff, some block work, things like that. But yeah, you just do the sessions. Right.
Just get it done.
Yeah, just put your cones out. Sometimes I'll put gates out. Yeah. But I might be trying to work on, say, one technical aspect, so I might be working on dorsiflexion. Yeah. So I do a run and all I think about is dorsiflexion. Yeah. Then I might, the next time I do it, I'm working on arm action.
Dorsiflex, for people that don't know.
Yeah, so just basically like pointing the foot.
Yeah. Not everyone knows.
Dorsiflexion. Yeah. So yeah, so I work on maybe one specific thing. You can't work on everything at once because you frazzle your brain. Yeah. And yeah, just go and do it, just get it done. A lot of people have got excuses for why they're not training, why they're not doing what they need. Just go and get the session done. What does it say on the paper? What's your recovery? 6 minutes? Okay, 6 minutes, be on the line with it.
So I know boxing is a massive part of your mind, the way you are. You just love boxing. Who's your top 5? I know you probably have these debates with your mates.
I do. Like every day on WhatsApp, my friend Matthew, he lives in Dubai actually. Yeah. We message every day about boxing, literally every day. Top 5. Pound for pound. Right now or
present?
Okay.
Present.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right. So
we go past after, isn't it?
All right. So my top 5 would be Terence Crawford in no particular order.
Okay, that's what I'm
Terence Crawford, Lomachenko, Canelo Alvarez. Now I'm struggling. After those 3
What, is it hard to pick?
Yeah,
two.
Yeah, the last 2, because I think there's a few people in and around there.
Yeah.
You could throw Fury in there. You could throw Andy Ruiz in there right now after that big win.
Yeah.
Triple G maybe. Oh no, Inoue. Is it Inoue? The Japanese
guy.
Yeah. I've got to put him in there.
He's phenomenal.
I wish I could put Billy Joe Saunders in there. Because I think he's good enough.
Yeah.
He hasn't fought enough guys yet.
Okay.
I'm struggling with the last one, man. Maybe Errol Spence. Errol Spence, I'll throw in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I'll put Errol Spence. Yeah, I've got to put Errol Spence in there. Have to. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Spence versus Crawford. Who wins that?
For me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Terence Crawford.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we did say him first, so
Yeah. Crawford's my guy.
Yeah.
I really like Terence Crawford. He hasn't fought anyone like Errol Spence though.
Yeah.
But Errol Spence hasn't fought anyone like Terence Crawford. And that's the fight I want to see.
I understand what you're saying. I don't think that Terence Crawford's fought anyone of a stature yet.
Well, I think not at welterweight.
Yeah.
Not at welter, but forget he's undisputed champion.
True.
Before he moved up. So I think you have to put him in there. Anyone who's an undisputed champion then moves up, wins a title. You've got to be on the pound for pound song. And it will come, but I think it's difficult because he's with Top Rank and you've got a lot of the other guys with PBC.
Yeah.
It's trying to
hard to
make the fight. So I think, because I think it was Porter's PBC, Spence, Danny Garcia. Yeah, I'm not sure what else. So. But yeah, so they're trying to keep Thurman's with PBC as well, so they were trying to keep the belts.
Thurman's not in that list, Steve. Pacquiao's not in. Oh, no.
Oh, Pacquiao.
Pacquiao's now. Thurman's now.
Yeah, it's difficult, man. It's difficult. It's a tough one.
And pass, sorry.
My personal favourites,
Yeah.
Prince Nassim Hamed
Yeah.
is probably my favourite fighter.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson,
Yeah.
vicious guy, man.
Yeah.
Joe Calzaghe. I love Joe Calzaghe.
I'm expecting that.
Floyd Mayweather,
Yeah.
without question. And my fifth one, I have to say Nigel Benn, I watched a lot of Nigel Benn as a kid, and that really got me. Those Ben Eubank fights, and I always loved Nigel Benn. So.
You know what I'm going to say now. You didn't put Ali in there.
I know, the only reason why,
Okay.
before my time.
Okay.
And I never saw him.
Yeah.
If I'm talking who I think is the best,
Yeah.
then I'm gonna put Ali in there. But I never watched it. I never grew up watching Ali.
True.
So it's difficult for me to say. Yeah, I watched a lot of his fights on YouTube and boxing videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I put Sugar Ray Leonard in there as well.
Yeah, true.
But it just was before my time. Okay. So that's the only reason why they're not in there.
That's fair enough. You got yourself out. What was I going to say? Nigel Benn.
Mm-hmm.
You said Nigel Benn. I'm not.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? Him coming back 23 years later, age 55.
It's a tough one. If an athlete believes in themselves, then they should do what they believe they need to do.
Yeah.
He's been out the ring for 25 years. That's a long time. Because your body gets conditioned to take in that impact.
Yeah.
And when you haven't done that for 25 years, I'm not sure your body wants to know about that again. I'm sure he's fit enough, and we can test if he's fit enough.
Yeah.
We can take him through fitness tests, VO2 max, we can do box jumps, sprints, timing over distance runs. So we can do the fitness test. It's not a question of whether he's fit enough. It's just whether his body is resilient enough to take the shots. When you spend, your late teens, early 20s, early 30s fighting, take 20 years off, is your body conditioned for that? I don't know. And to fight someone like Sakio Bika, who's been in with Calzaghe, been in with Darrell, he's a former world champion himself. He fought 2 years ago, and he was always in shape. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, if Ben believes it,
you're going to say that.
Listen, each to their own.
Yeah.
I'd rather it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to watch it.
I'm not going to watch it.
Definitely going to watch it. Definitely going to watch it.
Okay. And your opinion on Joshua Ruiz in Saudi?
Why not? Listen, they're going to get paid a lot of money. They're playing a very dangerous game into boxing. They need to get every penny they possibly can. yes, as fans, we love it locally, we love it in London, we love it in Cardiff. You know, the Mexican and American fans would love it in Mexico or Vegas or somewhere. But listen, look, world champions should fight all over the world. It's a global title, so represent it globally. I have no issue with that. Just looking forward to it.
Who wins?
Joshua should.
Yeah.
I think if Joshua brings his A game, he wins. I think Andy Ruiz is a very good fighter, though. Yeah. And I think AJ struggled with the speed inside. He struggled with the hand speed and the combinations. And I think if Andy Ruiz can slip inside his jab, AJ's got a problem. I think if AJ can keep it at range, he wins.
Okay. That's what I'm going to ask you. How does he win?
Yeah, keep it at range. Keep it at range. Keep it at range, and then double up, jab, right, straight right.
Will he do that then?
He did it a little bit in the first fight, and then Ruiz got up and got inside it. I think when he knocked Ruiz down, the first couple of rounds looked comfortable for AJ. You know, jab was looking good. You know, put him down with a very good shot, and then Ruiz just started to walk through the jab, and well, we know what happened after that.
And going back to your sports science and sports performance coaching, what would you do to change things for Joshua in this rematch?
I think as a sports scientist, you try and make his stamina a little bit better.
Okay.
I think he needs to really focus on his boxing. I don't think it's so much a conditioning or speed thing. You can do all the ladder drills you like, but is it going to affect how you step in and out of range? Not drastically. I think you need to improve his overall speed. I think what AJ's got, if you look at his training stuff, is a lot of quickness. He looks very quick, he looks very good, but actually, watch Andy Ruiz's stuff. His quality of movement is better. He moves really, really well. AJ needs to get back to moving really well.
You say get back, but did he ever have that speed?
I think when he first came through, he looked light on his feet. There was if you look at the first Dylan White fight, the only Dylan White fight, his foot speed looked good. He was in and out. It looked pretty good. Man, the hand speed looked good. He was snappy. He was really snappy. He's put on a lot of bulk since then. You know, so obviously his coaches have their reasons for that. Maybe he's just the edge isn't there at the moment. But
do you think it was to do with him knowing that he was fighting Big Baby Miller? The first fight, he was a bit heavier in this
potentially.
fight.
I don't think that. In my opinion, I don't think AJ needed to put on weight to beat that guy. I think he just would have knocked him down. AJ's a serious guy.
Even with what he was in his system.
Yeah, he was beating Baby Miller all day. Different level.
Alright. It was a pleasure having this interview with you today.
Oh, thank you. Cheers for having me, man.
And we'll put all your information on the description so people can see where they can get you. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I really appreciate you.
Thanks again.
Your time.
Thanks for that.
Right, today I'm joined by Mark Findlay, international athlete for Great Britain, now a strength and conditioning coach, celebrity training athletes as well, and
both.
musicians, DJs, a bit of everyone.
A bit of everything at the moment,
How are you finding it?
Really good. It's obviously what I enjoy. It's something I knew when I was competing and coming to the end of my career. It's something I wanted to get into. Which is the PT, kind of strength and conditioning side of everything. And we're in a good place at the moment, so I'm enjoying it.
Okay, so do you think that there's an element of musicians joining into fitness at the moment? Do you think that's a big part?
At the moment, it's becoming more and more relevant at the moment. So, for instance, a good pal of mine who's personal trainer as well. He works with Stormzy. Obviously, I've been working with Wretch3 too. We've heard through Wretch has got a few DMs from a few other guys that want to kind of join in. So it's all it's a lot more artists are kind of wanting to look after themselves and look a certain way.
Yeah.
And especially for guys that perform, it's important to be, the last thing you want to be doing is jumping around on stage and being out of breath and you can't say what you want to say the way you want to say it. So a lot of artists now want to be fitter as well as looking a certain way.
Okay. So the transition from being an elite athlete, you said that you knew what you was going to do in terms of personal training. Yeah. What does the future hold for you also?
So yeah, the transition, obviously I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I couldn't sit in an office or nothing like that, and I knew I kind of had to be my own boss. So that transition, in the beginning, obviously, you've been there yourself. You start with nothing. You're trying to build your clientele, and slowly but surely, we've got to a good place now where we're really busy. So that's going well. In terms of the future, I have a few projects that we're going to start doing in 2018. Few things with some artists actually. Yeah. Hopefully, won't say too much, but actually just have something on YouTube, like a YouTube channel or something like that. Okay. Something on Instagram and social media. Also, I'm going to get my online stuff going. Okay. Because obviously I've kind of feel at the moment I'm at a point where if I was to take on 2 or 3 more people, I'm fully booked up. Yeah. But then I still want to help people. So what the next thing for me is, you can either bring someone in that can shadow you for a while, and then they can start working for you. But I think what my problem has been is the way I've advertised myself from the start. People are invested in me. Yeah. So I've had problems with bringing people in. So obviously the next step for me would be to go online. Okay. And basically I can give you a package, a program. There's an app that I'm going to set up and going to use, where I'll send you a workout, videos of each exercise I want you to do. And then you can film your workout, you can send it to me, I'll critique it. We may have like a Skype call once a week just to see how things are going. And, that's another avenue for me, a bit of growth.
Yeah, that's what we all want, really. So what do you think of the fitness industry at the moment?
Booming at the moment. Yeah. It really is booming. I think since the whole social media, especially Instagram, it's just gone crazy. Everybody is into fitness. Yeah. I mean, the problem we find is everybody's a personal trainer. So you have to be careful, quality control, and make sure you do your research and make sure the person you want to work with knows what they're doing, and maybe check out their history and go from there. But no, fitness is in a very good place at the moment. And
your sporting idol, who would you say that would be?
Ooh, damn. That's a question and a half. Sporting idol. If I have to stick with my own sport, I have 2. Obviously, Linford Christie, being someone I looked up to when I was competing and when I was young, and Daley Thompson, absolute warrior beast, and I just don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. A 2-time Olympian in the decathlon is unheard of.
Okay, I wouldn't have thought that. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that. That kind of shocked me.
Yeah, Daley's the guy to me.
And I see that you're doing a bit of boxing on your social media.
I am.
Where does this all come from?
So my missus says it's a midlife crisis. To be fair, what it is obviously, you know yourself, you come from track and field, it's a competitive sport. Yeah. Once I retired in 2012, I didn't do much. I just delved into work for a couple of years. And then I thought, you know what, I need to start doing a bit for myself. I need, when you're working with clients and you're helping everybody else, but you've got to find something for you. Yeah. So I actually went back just for 2 years. I went back and done a bit of track. I'd done some masters athletics. So I went to the European champs. I won the European title in Italy over 60 meters. I went to the world champs in Budapest. I got a silver. But then it was, it's kind of taken away from my work a little bit, because if I want to do something, I want to do it properly. Yeah. So the time I was dedicating to training was just a little bit too much. Yeah. So I had to park that aside and then decided, when I was competing, my coaches were like, don't go crazy in the gym, because I had I'm a big guy, so I had a habit, if I touch gym, I get really big. So I thought, oh, well, I've got a free license now. Let's go in the gym and let's do a bit of bodybuilding. But to be fair, I've done it for about 18 months. And through, again, with me, if I'm going to do anything, I want to do it properly. So I was stuffing 5,000 calories down me, and the amount of money I was spending on food and the amount of meat I had to eat, I just thought, and then in the working out, it wasn't enough for me. Coming from competitive sport, I needed a little bit more. So then a friend of mine, Andy Turner, European and Commonwealth hurdles champion, he got into a bit of boxing, done a celebrity boxing match. And he fell in love with it. He gave me a call, he gave me a WhatsApp and said, I think you should try a bit of boxing. I think you'll love it. I'm addicted. So I went down to my local gym, because there's some guys that come here in the morning and they're pro boxers, and they come in the morning and run miles and miles and miles. So I spoke to them about it. They said, come down to the gym, and I haven't looked back. I've got a white collar fight, 15th of March, and I'm training for that. So it's that competitive elements come back.
So it's giving you more energy.
Giving me more energy, and it's nice to get into something where I'm a complete novice. I'm learning, and a lot of us guys, ex-sprinters and things like that, we kind of have a bit of an addictive nature. Once we get into something, we want to do it properly. So I'm on YouTube. I'm studying heavyweight. So I'm really into it.
So you're buzzing from it.
I'm buzzing from it, I must say. Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of the boxing, who would be your idol in boxing? Who would you look up to, and who would you watch their videos?
At the moment, so I look a lot Lennox Lewis. I look a lot of videos at Lennox. I watch AJ. My God, I watch AJ. So they're the two main fighters I tend to watch. The way they're working with me is, we're working a lot with jab, and I'm a heavyweight. I'm a big boy, so a lot of the fancy stuff I'm not going to be doing. It's really sticking to my jab, using the right hand, and at the moment, because I'm new to the sport, we don't want to complicate things too much. So they're the two guys using your movement, how to use my jab, my distance. So at the moment, they're the two guys that I'm looking at the moment.
So what advice would you give to anyone that's trying to lose a bit of weight now and get fit for the new year?
Consistency.
That's the only advice you would give?
Consistency. Obviously, this time of year, everybody, the January go, right, I'm going to join the gym, I'm going to get myself in shape. And then by February, mid-Feb, a lot of people fall off. So the main thing is just be consistent. If you're going to commit to something, commit to something. So obviously, you working out, you have to be consistent with that. And obviously, your nutrition and your diet has to change a bit to go alongside your training. I think the mistake a lot of people make is they may train hard, but if your nutrition is not mirroring what you're doing, you might not get the results that you're really looking for. So for me, consistency and your nutrition, just try your best to eat as clean as possible.
Okay. And I know you're a Tottenham fan.
Oh dear.
I'm going to ask you this question. Right. Arsenal approach you and they say, we want Findlay's Fitness as the guy to help all our players.
What do I say?
What do you say?
You can't afford me.
That's how you get out of it.
Yeah, you can't afford me.
So you've never ever worked for Arsenal. You couldn't put that badge on.
Wow, that would be so hard. There, I think you put up some big numbers, we can talk.
Okay, cool.
But it would be hard work.
All right, I'm going to ask you 5 questions, rapid fire. Yeah.
Okay.
Top 4 this season.
Top 4 this season, I have to say Man City, Man United, Chelsea, Tottenham. You know I was going to say that.
Hardest training, boxing, athletics, or weightlifting?
I'm going to say boxing.
Yeah?
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Okay. Mourinho or Pep?
Ooh, I love a bit of Mourinho. Even though he's been a bit moany lately, I do love a bit of Mourinho.
Okay. Most talented athlete you've worked with?
Most talented? I've worked with some talented boys. I think the most rawly talented would have to be Mark Lewis Francis.
Okay.
Yeah, amazingly crazy talented. Crazy talented. It was scary. Yeah.
Who's the next up-and-coming sprint king in Great Britain?
So I'm going to get in trouble for this. Reece Prescott.
Reece Prescott, okay. And who's better, Dele Alli or Jack Wilshere?
Dele Alli, come on.
Alright, it was a pleasure.
Thank you
but
very
I don't
much.
agree with that. I don't agree with that.
I didn't think you would, but I can't be on camera and say Jack Wilshere, no chance.
But if he came to train with you to have no injuries, who would you go with him? Jack Wilshere?
I'd make him amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
Today I'm joined by Ruben.
Yeah, there you go.
Tabaras. He's an A-list celebrity for the likes of David Hay, Tiny Temper, P. Diddy, and many more. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Fabian. Good to see you again, my friend.
Nice to see you. It's been a little while.
Yes, it's been a while.
I've got a few questions for you. How did you find the transition from being an athlete, training A-list celebrities?
It was kind of easy. I know that sounds like a mad thing to say, but basically, at the time I was training, like all the other athletes, we used to train together in East London. And I basically started breaking down a lot. I got ill for a while. This is before I met you. I attended... I went to see a few different doctors to see what was wrong with me, and they couldn't find out what was wrong. And eventually I found, after traveling the whole world, trying to find a doctor that could cure me, because I had some kind of mystery illness which no one could quite grasp. I found a doctor in the south of England who cured me with homeopathy and Chinese medicine, and that sparked my interest into all the stuff that I know today. So I became a nutrition, a dietitian, a sports therapist, strength and conditioning coach. I still continue to study now because in my eyes, we can't ever have too much knowledge. So it was in knowing all of those things that I started helping different athletes in the athletics world. And eventually, I came across David Hay, who was suffering with a couple of injuries at the time. He was cramping, he had a few issues, and I helped him get rid of all those things within about a month. And after that, he said, right, you're all going to come and work with me from now until I retire. And that's what we did. We worked together he retired, but then he asked me to come back when he came back for different fights. And we've kind of been working together since 2008, something like that.
Okay, so it's been a little while.
Yeah, and then obviously because you're working with, you've helped someone become heavyweight champion of the world, lots of different people ask you for help.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, I heard or I read about this, that you helped David with this and that. And it also helped. I went to school with Tiny Temper's manager, Dumio Barota. And I bumped into him at the GQ Awards one year, and he said, oh, how you doing? Good to see you. We had a good chat. He said, I've got a young up-and-coming artist called Tiny Temper. I want you to work with him. He's really keen to work with you. He's really young. I think Tiny was 21 at the time. And I took Tiny on, and this has been when he was a relatively unknown artist. Yeah. And then obviously he's gone on to do massive things. And it's just kind of come like that. I get recommendations from different people. Sometimes I get Hollywood A-listers ringing my phone and saying, I got your number from this person. Wow. I'm coming to London. I'm not going to lie, I don't watch a lot of television. I watch a lot of sport, but not a lot of television. So sometimes I'm there furiously Googling who this person is that's called me. But on the whole, it's been a smooth transition, purely based on my experiences as a young man and what I had to learn and overcome to get to know all the things that I know today.
Okay. So what would your philosophy be for an athlete in terms, or a model? What's the difference, your philosophy in terms of training for them?
Well, it depends what kind of athlete you're talking about. You're talking about a sprinter or a footballer, a rugby player, a boxer.
So, for instance, a boxer.
So for a boxer, okay, well, boxer's going to be doing completely different things to a model.
Yeah.
Are you talking male model or female model?
Female model.
Okay, female model. Because you see, now you start to understand, I'm very specific.
Yeah.
So with a female model, there are certain exercises that women shouldn't be doing the same as men.
Yeah.
We're in my yoga studio at the moment, but in my gym just across the hall, when I'm explaining to women why they can't train the same way as a man, and I break it down and start talking about the biomechanics of why they shouldn't train the same way and what happens physiologically, immediately makes sense to them.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, wow, okay, I completely understand that. And no one's ever explained that to me. So, but with boxing, it also depends on the weight class.
Yeah.
So when I was training Amir Khan, he was doing completely different exercises to David Hayes. Some, like a squat, were similar, but in terms of reps, rest, the frequency of training, training sprints on the track, that kind of thing, Amir could run longer distances on the track, whereas David couldn't. In fact, we try and keep David away from the track and keep him on grass as he got older, because the body's gone through wear and tear. So you're trying to minimize the risk of injury. So in terms of how I would personally train a model, it is completely different to how I would train a boxer or any other athlete for that matter.
So your philosophy is based on the person?
Yes, I wouldn't really say I have a philosophy of training.
Yeah.
I don't like to pigeonhole myself like that. In fact, I don't like to pigeonhole anybody. I look at the person, the person who I'm looking at the time may have tight calves, and when they're performing a squat, that may mean that they're lifting their heels off the floor, and therefore I try to find a way to release the tension in their calves for them to be able to perform a squat in the right biomechanical way. And another person may have a lower back issue or tight hamstrings or a shoulder problem or whatever it is. And so you have to cater the training to that individual and also rehab them from whatever's caused that in the first place so that they can then move forward.
So I guess your history in the sports science as well as the massage therapy all helps.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I wanted to learn, and I still continue to learn, as many different disciplines about the body as possible. So there was no good just being a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
I needed to know how to do different types of massage. I wanted to know what happens to the body when it comes to nutrition. And that, to be honest, is one of the most important things. And it's taking me down a path which I originally hadn't envisaged.
Yeah.
And now if I'm going to work with someone, the first place or the starting point is always the nutrition.
Okay.
And then training will come after. So, for example, if I have I had a client who was very, very overweight, and he was astonished that we didn't start training for the first couple of weeks, 3 weeks. He was astonished that I got him to eat even more food. He was saying, "What are we doing?" I didn't know I was going to come to see you so I could eat more. But I was explaining to this gentleman that basically when your body's taking on board the right nutrition and your cells start to communicate, you can basically do star jumps on the spot and you're going to lose weight.
From eating the right
food, from detoxing your body, because there's no point in trying to lose weight if your body's not fully detoxed.
So you basically just answered my next question. My next question was,
Yeah.
how would you advise someone to lose weight?
Again, the starting point,
Yeah.
even before we look at nutrition, is you look at water.
Okay.
So are they taking on board enough water? Because if they're not, then losing weight is going to be an uphill struggle from the start. So are they taking on board enough water? Normally, I'd say around about 3 liters more, but then I would have to be monitoring the person. But as an average rule to everybody out there, 3 liters is about a good enough starting point to hydrate the body enough to be able to start to detoxify and lose weight.
Yeah, I remember when we was training, that was the one thing that you always used to say to me.
Yeah.
Drink your water, get on top of your water intake.
Yeah, because, when a baby is born, this varies from baby to baby, etc. But let's say it goes up to about 90%. So when a baby's born, it's around 90% water.
Yeah.
When you reach adulthood, you're about 75% water. And when you die, you're 50% water. So most of your life, you're water. Most of your life, you're fighting dehydration.
Yeah.
And hydration is of vital importance to the longevity of your life, the quality of it. Okay. And also the type of water that you're taking on board as well is very important. So tap water is just not going to do. It's just not going to cut it, because tap water, unfortunately, today has a whole bunch of different things which society, like plastics, and if a woman's on the on the pill, and she's taking contraceptives, those hormones will be in the water. When there's all of these things, and there's simple and cost-effective ways of dealing with those things, like having a water filter. I have a water filter system in my house, in the showers as well. I change it probably every 9 months. It costs £100. Some people might think I'm not going to put a water filter in my house. That costs £100. But if you think of it per shower and what it's doing to you, because you absorb a lot of things through your skin, then you're eliminating toxicity, you're eliminating heavy metals, you're eliminating a lot of things which are going to add to the quality of your life, especially as you get older. Because when we were young athletes, and a lot of young people think this way, oh, it's fine, I can have this and I can have that, I can do this and that, because they're not thinking about their longevity, or I'm going to turn 40 or 50 or 80.
You're not thinking about that.
No, you're not thinking about that at all. Exactly. So, when you were 16, 17 years old, how old are you now?
33 now.
33, exactly. You never thought you were going to be 33.
No.
Yeah, and here you are. You're going to turn 63. Hopefully you will get to that age, very healthy, etc. But you're going to turn 63, whether you want to or not. So you might as well, when you get to turn 63, have done things and put things in place so that you get the healthiest you can possibly be. And it's not very hard. It's just about having the right information in order to get you from A to B in the right way.
Okay. So what's your take on the personal training industry and fitness industry at the moment?
Well, you kind of answered the question that with your question, which is the fitness industry or the personal training industry. It's an industry. So I'm very lucky that I had a strength and conditioning coach called Peter Marcosiano, who, in my opinion, the man is an absolute genius. He was working with David Hayes since the age of 16.
Okay.
And when I was looking for a strength and conditioning coach to help me get to the next level, and I did my research, and I like my research, I found this guy, and by far and away, he was the best. I can't stress, I don't like to call people geniuses, but this guy is an absolute genius. And every time I was training with him, and for example, I got sent a power plate. So Power Plate sent me a power plate. They said, here you go, can you have this? And just tell people that you're using it and all the rest of it. I think it was £12,000 at the time. This was years ago when Power Plate first came out. I've never turned it on. It's still sat at my mum's house. I'll pick it up soon, Mum, I promise. It's still sat at my mum's house in the spare bedroom, and it's just gathering dust like it always has. And then the power plate got replaced by, I think it was TRX or something like that. And it's basically every year, so every January, there'll be someone writing a book. Although I'm going to be one of those people soon. Every January there's someone writing a book. There's a new equipment coming out. People join the gym and never go. It's basically it's an industry that makes people feel better about them proactively doing something, whether they see it through or not. And I understand why people need personal trainers, because more than anything, they want to go to a trainer that has knowledge. And I'm not just saying this because you're an ex-athlete and I was an ex-athlete, but I always find that the best trainers are always people who have done a high level of sport, because they've had injuries, they've had to rehab from those injuries, they've overcome obstacles, they've been doing that thing since they were probably 12, 13 years old, and they've done it throughout their whole life, trained twice a day, 6 days a week. And they've had to eat the right food, and they've experimented on themselves. This works, this doesn't work. So whether they're a nutritionist or not, they will have some understanding of what a person needs to do. Less so impressed with people who are in an office and then they think, I'm going to go and take a 6-week course and I'm going to become a personal trainer. And I can then go and tell people what they should be doing in order to be, I'm sure there will be good trainers as well, but from my personal experience, because I hire a lot of personal trainers, they don't really know what it takes, and they don't understand, because some of them might be quite young, that the personal training industry churns out new things every year. And so going back to Pete, every time something came up, he would say to me, oh, I saw that 20 years ago, or I saw that 30 years ago. That was around when I was a kid, and now they've come back, they've packaged it in a different way, and they're reselling it. And that tends to happen a lot. And I tend to try and stay away from those things. And the people who I work with are knowledgeable, because I try and give them as much knowledge as possible. So whether they're with me or they're not, or we've done our phase of training and they move on or they move abroad, they will always take that information and they will know, this is not the right way to do things. This is the right way to do things. This has made me feel like this, and this has made me feel great, and that not so much. I've never gotten injured doing this kind of thing, so I shall continue to do something similar. So it's just about information, and I'm not too enamored with the fitness industry. I think it is what it is. I do like the fact that there are a lot of people doing good things to get people moving, etc., and to get them motivated. And Instagram has been a very, very good way of people looking at pictures and saying, oh, I want to look like that and I want to do this. However, and I have to stress this, and I've never really said this out loud, but a lot of the things that you look at, or a lot of the pictures, when people look at Instagram pictures, they've been doctored. A lot of the Instagram athletes, I call them Instagram athletes, if you can call them that, they are on drugs, they're on steroids, and so they look amazing, but we can spot a person who's been on steroids before. We were in that industry. You could always tell when someone came out flying and you've been training for 10 years and you've not quite reached those times yet, and someone's done it within a year. Possibly they were more talented than us, Fabian. Who knows? No, but seriously, it's very important for people to understand that those people also have a responsibility not to lie to people and to say, okay, this can be done naturally, but then do it naturally. Don't go on. So I'm not there's pros and cons about the fitness industry. I am more in favor of it than not, but there are certain things which, like I said, I'm not too enamored with.
Okay, so that goes into my next question about supplements. What's your take on supplements?
Well, when I was an athlete, I used to take a lot of supplements because that's what all athletes did. In fact, there was a point when I was taking so many supplements, and who had recommended them? The UK sport nutritionist. For those of you who don't understand what that means, it's just when you start to run fast enough, you get help from the lottery, and you get help from UK sport. What's the other one?
I can't remember any.
England Athletics. So the British Olympic Association. So you start to be on their radar. So they start, okay, come in. Now you qualify for this type of help, etc. And I was getting advice from one of their nutritionists, and they would say, okay, you have less energy, so take this supplement, and you need to take protein because you're breaking down muscles, and you need to take carbohydrate on board, and vitamin C, etc., etc. What I've discovered through my own research, not when I became a nutritionist or a dietitian, it wasn't then, it was through my own research, I've discovered that supplements don't really work. They are, again, the supplement industry is a huge industry, and that's why I prefer to give people superfoods. I prefer to give people foods that have come from natural sources. So if you need to take protein, hemp seeds, bee pollen has 3 to 4 times per gram more protein than beef, chicken, and eggs. So I prefer to give them natural foods that the body will recognize, but they're called a superfood because they're just full of nutrition. When I was taking all of those supplements as a young man, I would jump up and down. You could hear me rattling from the amount of pills. And what I've discovered is they don't really work. For example, if you're taking vitamin C, ascorbic acid, it's 1 of 8 molecules. So if you look at natural vitamin C under the microscope, from a lemon, for example, or from a pepper, it's got 8 different molecules attached together. Ascorbic acid is 1. It's the outside ring. It's got the 7 other molecules inside of it missing. And it's on the outside because it acts as a preservative. And that's why they add it to apple juice, etc., because it preserves the apple juice. When you buy vitamin C as ascorbic acid, it's not really vitamin C. It's like the same as if I gave you an eggshell without the egg and said, here you go, Fabian. There's an egg. You've got an eggshell, you've got part of an egg, but the egg is missing. So when I discovered all of these things, and that's just one example, then you start going into isolated minerals like calcium. When people have osteoporosis, I just saw a whole bunch of people last week who were from America, and they said they had osteoporosis problems, the beginning of osteoporosis, full set osteoporosis, and they were all on calcium tablets. And we don't have time to go into the whole science of why you shouldn't really be doing that. But what I was explaining is your bones are made up of 12 different minerals, not just calcium. Calcium is called the king mineral because it carries all the other minerals into the bone, but it's not the only mineral, because if our bones were made out of calcium, they'd be basically chalk. So they will break really easily. But they've got collagen and iron and magnesium and the whole bunch of 12 different minerals. So I prefer to have a green leafy vegetable like broccoli, kale, spinach, spirulina, chlorella. There's many different sources, and you find all of those minerals in the correct proportions that you need to take on board for your bones. So I prefer to do that rather than take isolated supplements, because then you start running into problems with imbalances in your body, and that causes a whole bunch of other issues as well.
So in terms of pre-workout meals, what would you eat for a gym session, for instance?
It depends. So Me personally?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't eat before a gym session.
Okay. And then post workout then.
So post-workout, it depends what I've done.
Okay.
So if I need if I'm building muscle, for example, let's just say I'm building muscle. I never build muscle.
Same.
Yeah, because it's pointless. But say I'm building muscle. I would have carbohydrates with some protein and some vegetables. And people might be surprised to hear that with carbohydrates you build muscle, but you do. So
I know that already.
yeah. So basically, if I was trying to get leaner, I wouldn't have any carbs, or have minimal carbs, and I would have more protein and vegetables. When I was an athlete, the majority of my meals would be carbohydrate.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to hydrate my muscles and put as much glycogen back into my muscles for the next session and for me to be able to recover as possible. So it just depends. Same as when I have different clients, they have different goals, so their meals are all different.
Okay.
So so before a gym workout, I never eat.
You never eat.
No, I think it comes from the days when I never used to eat as an athlete, because I discovered that, say for example, one of my favorite sessions, and you can tell with the sarcasm in my voice that it wasn't, one of my favorite sessions was 300 meters.
Where was that, in the forest or in the track?
It doesn't matter. It all hurts the same way. So if I ate before that session, I would be throwing up.
Yeah.
And you know that.
Yeah.
So I just decided that I would drink water and not eat. And then my stomach wouldn't be dealing with any kind of digestion, which means that there wouldn't be any blood. That all the blood would be going to my muscles. So there would be no need for my body to get rid of whatever is being digested at the time.
Yeah.
So, and then I would eat afterwards. So I found that worked for me instead of, there were a few times when I was training with Linford Christie in South Africa, where I remember a couple of occasions where I thought the session was far enough away that I could eat. I ate and I threw up very, very hard. Those 2 times in my life I remember very, very vividly. So yeah, I don't eat before a session.
You was renowned for the throwing up.
Yes, I was.
remember.
And that also stems from having an ability to push myself harder than most people.
Yeah, true.
You remember, I used to train harder than anyone. And in my mind, the training started when the pain began. Mm-hmm. And now I have a 12-year-old son, and with him, I tell him that, because he also has an ability to push himself. Maybe it's genetic, I don't know. But he has me telling him, back off, that's enough. Or today's session, you're not going to tax your central nervous system because tomorrow you might have a speed session. So there's no point in taxing your central nervous system because you'll be shot for tomorrow's speed session. And it's giving him that understanding and pulling him back and teaching him that there are many different ways to train and to progress and to look at an overall picture throughout the whole year. And he's lucky he's got me with all that knowledge and understanding. So he's already, at 12 years old, gathered probably about 20, 30 years of knowledge. And there's still more layers for him to discover. So does he take over Ruben Tabaras fitness? I don't know. I don't think so. He's very much into his nutrition. He understands exactly what he's doing. He's very, very body aware. So he's very, very in tune with what makes him feel good, what doesn't make him feel good. He's never had McDonald's. He's never had KFC. He's never had Nando's.
This is at the age of 12.
And this is at the age of 12. He's never had a fizzy drink. He likes fizzy water, but he's never had a fizzy drink. It's just like a normal kid. So when he goes to a birthday party, he'll have a piece of cake, but he won't eat all the other rubbish that's there. And he understands this because to date he's never lost a race. So what did he run? At 11 years old, he ran 12.83 for 100.
Pretty rapid.
It's quite quick,
Yeah.
but that's without training.
Yeah.
I don't train him.
Okay.
I don't train him because he's still too young.
So it's just the food.
It's just the food. And so, so he'll play rugby at school. He'll play football. He's on a special football program. He's doing really well. All of the sports that he does,
Yeah.
he's getting things from the sports because he's eating well. So he's recovering really well.
Okay.
I think one of the things which I didn't talk about when you asked me about the fitness industry was the amount of high intensity sessions that people do on a daily basis. If we want to, we can talk about that. It's just basically all to do with food. So we had an ability to push ourselves, but maybe not until my later days when I joined Linford Christie, not the coaches in between that had that level of experience, and obviously they weren't Olympic champions, so they couldn't really understand what it takes to make it, recovery, all that kind of stuff. So it was very, very, very helpful for me to join Linford, though it was towards the end of my career, because I did learn a lot.
Yeah. So what does the future hold for you?
Lots of different, very exciting things. I am writing a book, but it's going to be with a difference. I found every single book I've read has never actually given you any real information about how to carry things forward, and to have a real deep understanding of, after you've read the book, right, this is a plan and this is how I'm going to move forward. And that's always what has been lacking from most of the books I've read. And I'd want to write a book that gives people a real sense of knowledge and understanding about what it is that I've been trying to get across.
So is it going to be nutrition?
It's going to be about nutrition, training, lifestyle, what you should be doing in order to be successful. From a nutritional and training point of view. I'm also hopefully going to be doing some other things which I can't talk about yet, but we can revisit this. All to do with health and nutrition and that kind of thing, which I'm really excited about. And then just continuing to work with the people I work with, and continue to. I'm also running a special program with kids in North London who are all footballers, and I've given them all their strength and conditioning programs to see how they develop over the course of the year. Also, we're going to be doing speed, mobility, agility training with them, that children, because of my children, fascinate me. And it takes me into that realm. So there's loads of different exciting things.
Okay, brilliant. All right, we're going to do a quick round of 1 minute.
Okay.
One word answers. So,
can I think about it, or do I have to?
You got maybe about 5 seconds.
Oh, okay, that's more than enough time. Yeah.
David Hay versus Anthony Joshua. Will it happen?
Yes, I hope so.
Okay. Sprinters or boxers?
Boxers.
Sporting idol?
Michael Johnson.
Broccoli or kale?
Kale.
Gym or track?
Ooh, no, gym.
Bolt or Jesse Owen?
Jesse Owens.
Could you beat me over 30 meters?
Right now?
Right now.
I reckon I could, yeah.
All right, let's go for it. We'll put this on video one day.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll do that. Going back to broccoli or kale, why kale?
It just has more nutrition than broccoli. Okay. Broccoli was man-made.
Okay.
Broccoli's man-made.
And kale comes from the grass.
Kale's an original.
Okay. Yeah, because I had a few questions about that recently.
Okay.
I couldn't answer it, so I want to hear from you.
No. It's the same as when I eat carrots. I try and eat carrots that old school carrots. So like purple, the darker variety of carrot, because orange carrots were also man-made.
Okay.
They were made in Holland
Yeah.
to match the Dutch flag. So I like looking at the history of food and what's not been messed around with, etc., etc. That's why when I have flour, if I'm going to have flour, I'll never have wheat flour.
Okay.
I'll always have spelt or buckwheat. It's really hard to find the original flours now, but rye bread, if I'm going to have any bread, I'll have rye bread. But I try and stay away from flour in general because of the gluten.
I seen something on your Twitter maybe a couple years ago actually, about bananas. You only eat the bananas with the spots on it.
Yes.
Why is that? I can't remember what you said on there, but
It just develops. Riper bananas have a different. It's different in terms of nutrition. It's a nutritional value. The green bananas are not. You're not supposed to eat them.
Yeah.
I know people like the harder the banana, they like it, but it's not ripe. So the sugars haven't developed and manifested themselves properly. And it's better for your immune system. Yeah. Well,
for you.
For me, well, in terms of nutrition, that's 100% true. Okay. But just can't eat green bananas.
Okay.
I had a friend not long ago who I was walking with him, and he said, I'm just going to pop in and get a banana. And he came out, and I looked at the banana, and it looked really green to me. And I just let him get on with it. And I looked over, and he had like a real frothy mouth. Wow. And so I said, what's wrong with you? And I looked, and he wasn't eating a green banana. He was eating a green plantain. A green one. And so he said, I always eat these things, but sometimes I get constipated. I said, that's not banana. So I found that really hilarious. Oh, wow. I was laughing at him for ages.
All right, Ruben, it was a pleasure.
Fabian, thank you very much.